back to beautiful Fort Myers, Florida, Suncoast Credit Union Arena. Dolphins are jumping. Basketball on tap. Should be a great matchup today. Our starting lineups brought to you by Elevance Health, your lifetime trusted health partner for DePaul. Not just Anissa Morrow. Darian Rogers, 21.8 points a game. She had 36 against Miami. And Anaya Peoples, a transfer from Notre Dame, has been outstanding early for the Blue Demons. For the Terps, new look team, 9 newcomers that include Myers. 14th ranked Maryland, home whites, DePaul, visiting Blues, and here we go. Second all-time meeting between these programs underway. Rogers, the junior, team's second leading scorer, about 22 a game. Allen the feed, works down low for Morrow, her first 2.
Yeah, going right into Morrow early. You saw Maryland throwing a couple different defenders on there. Morrow staying patient and working for that inside seal position.
Phillips was set up with a nice seal down low, but it's out of bounds.
And here was the patience, a little high-low action. Jory Allen noticing Morrow had that seal inside. And I like the patience there. They didn't have her early on, but Morrow kept moving. That's something Doug Bruno knows she has to do better this year, is get more creative with how to get open.
Terps a 3-game win streak. Delaware, Fordham, Davidson, and then the Baylor game over a nationally ranked team. Lone loss to defending national champ South Carolina. That's been it for them.
Yeah, and Diamond Miller was unable to play in that South Carolina game. Had a little bit of a knee injury. That was the only game she missed. So she is back in now and obviously had that huge game against Baylor.
Nice feed down low, and Masonis hits the team captain. 4 team captains for Brenda Fries, the Maryland legend, 2-time National Coach of the Year, won the 06 national title for the Terps. Peoples passing, look at Morrow's range. Splash from deep.
And that's something Anissa has added to her game this year. I still think she's best inside using that size, but she has knocked down quite a good number of threes so far in this early part of the season.
31.5 points a game to lead the nation. National Freshman of the Year last season for DePaul. Free again, thinking about a deep shot, back iron miss this time. And Pinzan, the native of Italy and transfer from USF, has the rebound. Turned over.
A lot of scoring in this game. Both teams love to play at a high pace. That time Maryland going with a little high-low action into Mazonis, and Morrow had just scored from the inside, and now she's showing that new extended range that she has debuted in her sophomore season.
Tipped out of bounds by Lavender Briggs. Transfer from Florida, all SEC pick there. She's only 15 points shy. Might see it today, came of 1,000 for her career.
Yeah, Lavender Briggs, really an interesting player because she was such a high-level and dynamic scorer at Florida. Brenda Fries said we're still waiting to see that breakout offensive game from her here in a Maryland uniform.
Kendall Holmes lost that one. Junior from Plainfield, Illinois, out of bounds. It's back to Maryland. Terps in Waco beat number 17 Baylor by 5. Brenda Fries told us pregame, intense atmosphere there. And a good notch in the belt for Maryland down the road when those quality wins matter. Myers, the Princeton transfer, can't connect from distance on the free throw line. Keep an eye on number 24. Where is she? High post at the moment. 15 to shoot. And a bump foul. It's going to be Phillips. Miller, excuse me, Diamond Miller.
And there's Anissa Morrow, nation's leading scorer. Last 2 games, a combined 77 points. She had a 42-point game. That unfortunately came in a loss to Cleveland State overtime, and then 35 in that win over Miami to get the team back on track.
Morrow's touch, high post, spins, this time short front iron miss. Brene Alexander in, first time for Maryland. Pinzan doesn't get a roll from about 10 feet. Had a great career at USF, and Brenda Fries described her today to us as an outstanding distributor. This new look Maryland team, they're looking good early.
Yeah, they have a lot of veteran transfers that came in, so the big thing is building that chemistry. There's one of the transfers, Myers, but so many teams are in that same boat right now in this new transfer portal world, so a lot of teams still figuring out what they're going to look like a couple months down the road.
Holmes hits from deep.
And that's big. Kendall Holmes stepping into the starting point position. Unexpected after DePaul lost their starting point guard, and Doug Bruno said she's a player who can knock down that three.
Pinzon can't answer. Morrow up high for the rebound. It's fouled on the way down. Renee Alexander picks up her first.
And nice distribution here from Darian Rogers, who's actually leading the team in assists. And her teammate Kendall Holmes, nice job of relocating, spotting up, and knocking down that outside shot.
Cheyenne Sellers, sophomore, team's third leading scorer. Maryland has 3 players in double figures entering this game today. She's in for the first time. Another excellent piece for this 4-1 Maryland team. She's had double figures in 3 of 5 games so far. Drive for Rogers, unsuccessful. Tough shot through traffic with a left, and the rebound for Sellers right off the turf bench. Myers passing the setup inside, and the rebound off the miss from Alexander. Voted team captain as a transfer. Amazing. Rogers up top. Can't connect this time. So newcomers on a team who are voted team captain immediately upon arrival. That's something you don't see often. Alexander can't click from deep.
Yeah, impressive. Maryland just with 4 returning players to this roster. So that's the type of leadership that Brenda Fries needed right away with her new players.
Nice seal, nice post. Allen. Help from Holmes, 15 on the timer. Anaya Peoples, the Notre Dame transfer we told you about. Offensive foul.
Yeah, that was an easy call. Peoples just extending that elbow. Nice job defensively to have a hard hedge and cut off her driving lane.
DePaul knocked off American, lost to Northern Illinois, and then Cleveland State, as you talked about, came at home in overtime. Beat Miami convincingly in their last game. That's a nice victory over an ACC team, but Doug Bruno was not exactly pleased after that Cleveland State overtime home loss.
Yeah, that was a tough one. They were leading by 9 heading into the 4th quarter at home and then giving that game away. So he was really impressed with how they were able to bounce back against a tough Miami team who hadn't lost yet in the season. And so far, a great start for the Blue Demons in this one.
Terps 0 for their last 8. Struggling here to get going. Rimmer into the game. Knocked out of bounds. Good play defensively from Bree McDaniel, a freshman from Chicago. As Doug Bruno told us pregame, we should have won those 2 games. Those are games like that back, but a nice adjustment and a win over Miami. Changed things a bit. Rimmer can't connect, and a rebound for Sellers. 4+ minutes. Terps have not scored here. Missing their last 8, as we told you about. Let's see if that changes here. McDaniel. A shot from the corner. Miss Alexander. That streak continues. And DePaul is off to a great start here in the first quarter. Underway in Fort Myers. Blue Demons an 8-2 lead on number 14.
See her team limit the turnovers. They've been turning it over at a high rate. She also wants to see them control the pace of this game, but right now coming out of that timeout, she has to be telling her team to get into transition a little bit. They're 1 of 10 from the field and have taken 6 threes. This is a team that really thrives in transition, so we'll see if they look to turn up the heat a little bit.
3 games, 3 days for each team here in Fort Myers, so it's about chemistry. Coach Fries told us today, gelling as a team with all the newcomers that Kim documented. 10 on the timer near the midcourt line. And kept alive here by Morrow. Launches top of the key. Not this time. On a 3. Rebound for Alexander. The Vandy transfer. Here's Sellers open court. Some contact, but no whistle. And it's out of bounds.
And there's a little bit of that pace we were talking about. Sellers can't believe a foul was not called. There certainly was a lot of contact. Let's take a look at it. She's maybe lucky that she didn't get whistled for an offensive, so probably better off that nothing was called there for her.
Faith Masonis has the only field goal made for Maryland. The rest of the team is 0 for 9. Maybe that changes with Alexander's deep 3, but no, another back iron miss.
Yeah, now
and the rebound for Rimmer.
Now 0 for 7 from deep.
Peoples runs and lays it in. Nia Peoples, team's third leading scorer. Almost 9 rebounds a game. And Diamond Miller on the other end is fouled on the way to the basket.
And here's some transition offense. Kiki Rimmer, eyes up, and Maryland just a half step late on finding Peoples. Like Maryland, DePaul is a team that loves to get up and down the floor, so Maryland too has to be keyed in on taking care of the ball and transition defense.
Nia Peoples' partner picks up her second foul, the only player with 2 personals so far, so Doug Bruno quickly removes her from the lineup. One more free throw here for Diamond Miller. First point of the game. Team captain, 21 points a game for Diamond. Huge game against Baylor, as we talked about. 32 points, 10 rebounds. Career best in scoring. Hit some free throws. Maybe that gets her going.
Yeah, I mean, she scores a third of her points from the free throw line, especially when the team is struggling to shoot from the outside. That's how you want to get some confidence and rhythm going.
Rimmer struggling with the pressure. Does find Rogers. Quiet so far. Kicks in the corner. Kendall Holmes, second 3.
And you can't be late on closeouts against DePaul, especially Holmes. You have to know who are the shooters. She's certainly one of them, and a couple of Terrapins got sucked into the paint and did not close out in time.
Her first career start came against American to begin the season. New look DePaul team. Lots of injuries in the backcourt for Doug Bruno. That's going to be an issue this year. Breaks. Maryland stays cold over the back foul.
DePaul, a team who's not shy about shooting from the outside. Again, Darian Rogers creating and distributing. You saw a bunch of white jerseys in the paint. You have to know who are the shooters on the perimeter and have less time allowed for Holmes to get that shot off.
McDaniel's first foul on the rebound attempts. Kiki Rimmer, senior, team's second leading rebounder. Contact lens issue. I've got a corrective lens in the left eye. If it's out, I can't see a thing, Kim. Not a thing.
That is, as a contact lens wearer, that's tough to do right there, putting it back in with no solution.
I need the mirror and the solution, frankly. 6-0, DePaul run. The struggles continue here for Maryland. 13-4 game in our first quarter. Here's Morrow, 31.5 a game. Wow. Here's an offensive foul, though.
Yeah, they're going to whistle Anissa Morrow, who handed that ball off, almost setting a little bit of a screen there in the process, but they're going to say she was moving a little bit. Doug Bruno talking to Darian Rogers.
Terps are 0 from 8 from 3. Miller, trouble with the handle, Morrow all over her. Some really good defense. Baseline miss again. Struggles for Massonis, who's the only Maryland player with a field goal so far. She can't hit on the baseline.
And so far, DePaul doing a really nice job of cutting off the drives of Diamond Miller. I think that has to be number one when you're playing against Maryland, that and transition defense. But keeping Miller outside of that paint where she is almost unstoppable when she gets inside off of a drive.
Brandon Freese reminded us that Massonis played 39 minutes against Baylor. We asked her how the knee was, and I guess it's holding up just fine. ACL, big brace, left knee for Faith Massonis. Miller double team, needs some help. Briggs back for Diamond Miller. 4-3. Finally, the first 3 ball of the day for Maryland.
As good as Diamond Miller is inside, she can also really hurt you from behind the arcs. You have to be able to play her up front, but that was better movement without the ball after she didn't have that initial penetration.
Doug Bruno, in our pregame chat with him, was concerned that's out of bounds and right back to Maryland. Concerned about Miller inside more than outside, but if she hits threes like this, watch out for Paul. Yeah,
you saw she was triple teamed. She gives it up and then relocates to the open spot and able to knock it down. Much needed outside shot for Maryland.
Rimmer is out, and Nia Peoples, 2 fouls, does return for DePaul here. Some contact, and Kendall Holmes is going to pick up that foul. Gia Cook into the game, freshman from Clinton, Maryland.
And here's Rogers, the freshman. Not too much contact up top, but a little bit of lower body contact, enough to get the whistle blown.
5 points for Cook in her Maryland debut against George Mason. And 7 points against South Carolina in the Terps' lone loss. Four-star high school recruit. An actual freshman, not a transfer that Brenna Freese had this year. With a roster renovation, so many new faces in College Park. And Allen turns it over.
And now you see a little bit more energy, a little bit more spark from Maryland. More the way they want to play on the defensive end, forcing those turnovers. You can see that translate to the offensive end a little bit more pep in their step here.
Well, gets the free throw line, maybe that helps. Before Miller's three, Maryland had missed 12 straight from the field. That struggle continues. Briggs can't connect, but a fresh 20. Offensive rebound, here's Cook. Short, Masonis a hand on it, out of bounds, and the Terps keep it with 1:07 to go in the first quarter.
Doug Bruno called Faith Mazonis one of the toughest players in the country, and you see that on display there with her crashing the offensive glass early in this game. Some spacing trouble there. Two players posting up for Maryland in the same spot.
Morrow, not just a great scorer. Has the play defensively, and the dime as well. Dishing to Rogers. Darian Rogers' first bucket of the game. It's quite a 1-2 punch DePaul has. Major offensive threats. Rogers for Holmes. Tried that little shovel pass. But Morrow didn't really see it coming. And good recovery defense in transition for Maryland to get the ball back here.
Yeah, nice
shot clock turned off.
Nice job by DePaul stopping that ball there. Their defense has been impressive.
As poorly as Maryland has shot, only down by 6. Final seconds of the first. Miller launches a 3-ball. Short this time. Holmes a hand on it. Over the back, foul's coming. And Allen is going to commit that foul with 2.8 to go in the first quarter.
And that's too bad because that's their 5th foul. So Faith Mazonis will go to the line for 2 shots here.
Hate to see that if you're DePaul at the very end of the quarter.
Love to see it if you're Maryland.
That's right. One more for Masonis here. 7.5 points a game. 4th leading scorer entering play here out of Belmar, New Jersey. It's the second. Morrow. It was online, a little short. Morrow and Miller, 5 points each, first quarter. 1 completed for Myers after a tough start. Maryland plays better. Amazing season. Caleb Miller, 33 touchdown passes, 3 picks this year, Kim. Wow, those are some
like that ratio.
Spectacular numbers. Numbers not great for Maryland first quarter here, but they're only down by 5 points.
Yeah, pretty remarkable. Shooting just 2 of 18 from the floor, but they have gotten 5 points from the free throw line to find themselves just down 5.
Masonis on a pass for Miller, but again, unable to get going here. Lisa Morrow. Here's Rogers. 6 field goals made, 6 assists first quarter. Morrow free. That was for DePaul. Another deep shot for Anissa.
Interesting talking to Doug Bruno about the evolution of Anissa Morrow and how she's been shooting better from behind the arc, knocking down 2. He still would like to see her get a good balance inside and out, but she's got it going from the outside so far in this game.
Rogers floats, can't connect. Kiki Rimmer, good offensive rebounds out of bounds.
Anissa Morrow coming off that screen and then popping back out, draining her second 3 of this game. The nation's leading scorer, showing a bit of an increased offensive repertoire in her sophomore year.
42 points against Cleveland State, tying a single game DePaul scoring record. 35 points against Miami in back-to-back games. Remarkable. Trying to get free. Pass from Rogers. Morrow tries again. This one can't quite click from long range. Stick back for Jory Allen.
And with Jory Allen inside, it does allow Anissa Morrow to play a little bit more on the perimeter. She just wants to make sure she's still crashing the offensive glass. an area she led the nation in last season, offensive rebounds.
Pinzon is back in, running the show for Maryland. Myers, left elbow touch, the Princeton transfer. Ivy League Player of the Year last year for the Tigers. Thinking about a three, rattles it in.
They needed that one. Maryland's second three of the game, and that was another nice job of relocating after DePaul really crowding the paint on the drives.
One of two Maryland players on the roster with 1,000+ career points. You see the three-point numbers so far. What an addition she's been. Rimmer connects.
Yet another one from DePaul. Really, anybody in a blue jersey will pull the trigger from three. So if you're Maryland, you have to be really careful on helping and recovering and locating shooters on the perimeter.
Pinzon and Miller weave in an offensive foul called on Diamond Miller. That's her second.
Threes are flying here, more so for DePaul, but Abby Myers finally gets one to go, her first points of the game. And then Kiki Rimmer, a couple feet behind the arc there. There's actually 3 3-point lines on this floor. You really got to check yourself to make sure you're behind the line.
Watch the officials, hands up in the air, right? Make sure you got it. Rimmers was deep from any of those lines, that's for sure. Morrow free, but can't finish the righty layup. Briggs defensive rebound. Alexander's on the move. Pinzon, USF transfer. Thought about a three, and Alexander baseline too strong. Good pass, though, that's for sure, from Pinzon. Return pass, works down low. Alexander has got her first bucket of the game.
And that's how you want to claw back into this game, with those gritty plays, the second chance points. Ball was bobbling around a little bit, and Maryland brings it down.
Unscripted baskets, right? A lot of contact. Morrow down low. Looks like she was fouled in the paint.
And there's that little give and go there to Alexander. And on the other end, it's too bad Darian Rogers had just knocked down a three, but a foul was called just a split second before down low, so the three won't count. DePaul gets it underneath. Freshman
from South Bend, Indiana, Mila Reynolds commits her first foul off the Maryland bench. Morrow, not this time from deep, contested by Myers. And a nice run out. Another chance for DePaul. Rogers, everything but go down from deep. Lead at 8, despite DePaul's dominance today. And Myers scores in transition.
And you see Maryland able to get out on that one. That's why rebounding, forcing some turnovers on this end of the floor is so important in terms of what they want to do on the offensive end.
Rimmer, no foul called. The miss. Peoples, the kick out three. Rimmer, track down rebound. What a want-to from DePaul here. And she eventually commits a foul on the offensive rebound, her first.
Abby Myers, the Princeton grad transfer, starting to get going offensively here. We saw her knock down the three that time, just nice and controlled in transition. Little Euro step through. And I have to show love to the Ivy League since I played in there as well. Great to see her competing and excelling at this level. Katie Benson, a Harvard grad transfer who graduated for Brenda Fries last year. So you love that Ivy League transition to Maryland.
And Myers, 5 games in some turf, 5 games in double figures. Pinzon free for three. Rattles it in again. And Doug Bruno's seen enough. He wants a timeout. The native of Italy, grad student transfer from USF, Pinzon, known for assist and steal.
Where they're certainly at their best.
Ball up 19-16 total rebounds, 13-10 defensive glass so far. Doug Bruno's team has out-rebounded all 4 opponents heading into this one with Maryland. A 9-2 rebound margin. That's going to be a big factor today against Maryland for sure. Rogers trying to help out Morrow on a nice seal, but the steal, it's out of bounds.
You see a different level of intensity now from Maryland. They're talking, they're trapping, they're denying passes. We didn't see that to start this game. 11 a.m., pretty early tip time, but they've settled in a bit.
Day after Thanksgiving, none was easy to get going, right? Holmes thinking three, back iron miss. It's out of bounds to Maryland. Jory Allen, the Indiana transfer, tries to track it down. Not a lot of players stay one place 4 years. Indiana transfer. So many new faces, new places with a portal. Men's and women's basketball. It's a new era.
That's why Brenda Freeze really complimented the player Diamond Miller has been here in a Terps jersey for 4 years. Faith Mazonis as well.
Myers can't click. Left elbow has the offensive glass. A second try at it. And Morrow, defensive rebound here for DePaul. Morrow trails. Free from three. This fires. Allen rebound on the baseline. Stick back for two.
Tori Allen has a couple of putbacks in this game, which is important, as we mentioned. When Anissa Morrow's out there shooting threes, it still gives them a presence on the boards inside.
8 points for Morrow so far. Only 2 for 7 from 3 and 3 of 10 overall. Holmes has a steal. Runs into Myers, no whistle near the timeline. Needs some help. Knocked out of bounds. Look at the hustle. Pinzan and Holmes head to head. Hit the hardwood.
Both teams getting after it here in Fort Myers. You see the trap from Maryland getting on the floor.
We'll stay right here. Santa Grita. Alexander runs the show. With Miller out. Long rebound. Allen's got it at the free throw line. Anissa Morrow running. Holmes thought about a three. That's her spot, right wing. Hangs in the paint and hits. Not just a three-point shooter. And Brenda Freeze has seen it up. She'd like a timeout. 8 for Holmes. And DePaul leads by 7. Now we'll take that timeout.
If you don't come through, some will get nothing.
The Cleaning Lady, all new Monday at 9, 8 Central.
Lead. Dave Kim, our entire crew here in Fort Myers. What was Brenda Freeze talking about in the huddle a minute ago?
Yeah, she was telling her players, we need to communicate on defense, especially if you allow DePaul to get the rebound and run out a couple times now, missing players, not relocating. So communication was a big factor in that huddle.
Pinzan for Briggs, and the Florida transfer from her all-SEC pick can't click. She's wearing number 30 today, number 3. Could be a uniform malfunction. Sometimes that happens. Rogers lost it. Pinzan and Maryland on the move here. Looking for a roll from 15 and gets it.
Maryland has had more success when they're active on the defensive end, getting hands involved, allowing themselves to get out and get some easier ones on a day when they're struggling to knock down from the outside.
Pinzan leads the Terps with 5. How about Rimmer for 3? Deep triple. Masonis runs the court well, but a pick instead for Darian Rogers. Somehow Morrow is open. The nation's leading scorer in transition. 3 for an easy bucket.
Well, that's why Brenda Freeze just called the timeout, so she's not going to please there. But the vision of Darian Rogers, who's a lethal scorer, her assist numbers this season have been extremely impressive. Here's a look at that last one, or that was the 3 rather, from Kiki Rimmer. And here's Rogers. Once again, Anissa Morrow, leading scorer in the nation. And you leave her open in transition. Brenda Freeze has to be fuming right now as she goes to the bench to try and find 5 players that are going to play transition defense in this game.
First play to double figures. Anissa Morrow, nation's leading scorer, has 10. Handles here on the baseline. Blocking foul.
I think the motor of Anissa Morrow is one of the most impressive attributes about her. You watch her play every second, every minute she's on the floor in a game. It's nonstop effort, diving on the floor at all times. She seems like she never gets tired, and she never takes a possession off on either end of the floor.
Fouls on Alexander Kim, her first. One more free throw here for Morrow. Tied the single game all-time DePaul record with Beth Hassan-Miller, who had 42 in 1991 against Valpo. Gets that free throw for 11. I mean, 42 points, that's a lot. That's something.
I have a feeling we'll probably see a couple more 40-point games from her, not even halfway through her sophomore season.
Go driving, it's off a hand down low as Sellers trying to find a handle. Ball had been knocked aside by DePaul. The quickness of the Blue Demons defensively has been a factor here.
Yeah, Doug Bruno said he feels like his team's half-court or quarter-court defense, as he call it, has been vastly improved. Typically, they've been a team that presses you for 40 minutes of the game full court, but with a little bit different personnel this year, as Rimmer is off to a great start here in the first half.
Wow.
They're pressuring full court less, but really locking in this half-court defense. It's been effective.
Last minute, 8-0 run for DePaul. Alexander defers into the corner for Sellers. Hits a big three, much needed for the Terps. Cheyenne Sellers' first points of the game.
Yeah, Sellers' impressive length and athleticism to go along with Diamond Miller on the perimeter. Sellers, a 6'2" long, rangy guard, gets it to go from the corner.
Sophomore from Aurora, Ohio. Here is Morrow. Steps back. Baseline not this time. Sellers defensive glass for the Terps. Cook drives, hangs, and hits.
Really impressive drive for the freshman, just full speed, seeing that little bit of a gap in the paint and pulling up before getting into too much trouble.
Now we're getting going here. It was quite a bit of offense and transition play from each side.
And here's Kiki Rimmer, who has had some big-time plays in this first half, but Gia Cook just a little bit too quick for DePaul on that one. Nice job of getting into the paint. Another look at it from above, the little hook shot almost off of one leg.
Foul on Sellers a moment ago, her first. Rogers, Morrow, offensive foul, that's two.
Really good anticipation there, and I think that's something you can do against Anissa Morrow, because she is always at kind of one speed, so I think you can predict when she's coming down the lane. Really impressive job there to get that position and take the charge.
Came at the half. Mike Hill will be in our LA studios. We've got a feature on DePaul's Hall of Fame coach, Doug Bruno. That's coming up at halftime. From here at Fort Myers, 2 fouls Miller, 2 fouls on Morrow. Great defense, Rogers down low. Shuts down McDaniel. Just over a minute to go here in the first half.
And Darian Rogers had the rebound but brought it down instead of keeping it up high, and freshman McDaniel, nice job of getting her hands on the ball without fouling.
Ball for the Hall of Fame coach has hit 5 of its last 6 shots. DePaul missing the starting backcourt. Eric Collier's out. Jade Edwards, a knee injury. Haley Walker is out, so the guards, it's a big effect on what DePaul will do this year. Good defense against Allen. Holmes can't respond from deep. And Masonis, the defensive rebound for Maryland. Cook is quick. Masonis trails. Out of bounds. Offensive rebound, Masonis. The miss there from Alexander.
Better spacing, better movement from Maryland, but still struggling to knock down the three at a high rate, 4 of 14 in this game.
Sellers, end of the first half, can't flick from long range, another miss. And that stat goes down for the Terps from beyond the arc in the first half. Here's Rogers, shot clock turned off. Final moments of our second quarter. Rogers quiet, just 2 points so far. Step back three. Team's second leading scorer can't connect. Rebound Alexander. Sellers almost had the distance off the mark. We're at halftime. Not a great start for Maryland. Gets better at the end of the first half of the second quarter. Just 10 points, but 17 in quarter number 2. And here we go, second half. From Fort Myers, Brian Kim Adams, our entire crew. Great to have you with us from this beautiful part of Florida. DePaul, as you saw on that graphic, has led the entire way. And they start half number 2 with an 8-point lead.
And I think it's an interesting 20 minutes for Brenda Friese's squad. She mentioned to us the 9 new players. We're still a work in progress, still trying to find our way. So let's see how they can handle a little bit of adversity coming their way.
Miller baseline, blocked. Jory Allen came over on the rotation with a swat.
Impressive defense from Allen. You don't see that too much. Diamond Miller, once she gets a shoulder past her defender and to the rim, it's almost an automatic 2 points.
Masonis. Wow. Anissa Morrow can score. We know she can rebound. She can also play some defense. Back-to-back blocks for DePaul. That was special. Talk about anticipation. Masonis. Miller 5 to shoot. Spins through traffic. Tough shot. With Diamond Miller. Just her second field goal of the game.
Yeah, there Miller finds her gap. She dribbled in the middle of the paint, gets the defender on her right shoulder and able to spin back. We'll see if that gets her going a little bit after missing about half of the first half with foul trouble.
Rogers, DePaul's second leading scorer, just 2 first half points, 1 field goal. Well, feed the post and Allen scores.
Nice Allen, she's been really impressive on both ends of the floor, really confident, really sure of her moves and her defense. She has been a big boost. Wasn't expected to be in the starting lineup for this DePaul Blue Demons until they suffered those couple of injuries.
Masonis, Myers, bounce pass free throw line, picked. People's 2 first half fouls, runs the court well. Miller, good recovery. Morrow looking for the stick back. It's out of bounds to the Blue Demons.
And here's Diamond Miller. You see she gets Allen on her shoulder, gets her in the middle of the paint, and then able to spin right back, find the gap. But Jory Allen just keeping things simple on that end of the floor.
Peoples can't convert. Really good inbound set. Masonis has the rebound. Here's Miller in the open court for Maryland. Through traffic with a left, gets a roll. Diamond Miller back-to-back field goals up to 9. And here come the Terps.
And that's exactly where Miller can rack up points as Darian Rogers just stops in the last place you want to get trapped. This is where she can get scary. Diamond Miller just slicing through the defense at 6'3". So DePaul did a really nice job on her in the first half. Obviously also helped she had the 2 fouls, but you can't let her get going. You have to put a body in front of her and send help in transition.
Brenda Freese told us pre-game that she's becoming more of a complete player all the time. Rogers deep 3, not this time from 3, and a front iron miss.
Real deep on that one.
Yeah, McDaniel, former All-State player in Illinois, back for Maryland. Another freshman. Miller feeling it. Too strong on the runner. Heel the rim miss. Offensive rebound. Earns a trip to the free throw line.
You could tell Diamond Miller didn't enjoy being sidelined in that first half. She's coming out, and this is the type of player we saw put up 32 against Baylor earlier this week. She is just relentless in getting to the rim, getting her offensive rebounds, and this is where DePaul really has to make sure you do not let her get going.
Kim Anissa Morrow just picked up her 3rd foul, and she's headed to the DePaul bench. Out for now. Nation's leading scorer takes a seat. 1 more free throw for Miller.
And that's tough for DePaul, not only because she's obviously the nation's leading scorer, but they go with such a short rotation, just about 6 players. So the players on the floor now are going to look to have to play big minutes, and now a little bit smaller on the inside. They're going to need guards to really attack the boards.
Double figures for Miller. And now without more on the game, let's see how this changes. Allen, right of the paint, draped by Miller, good defense. Rimmer had outstanding first half shooting from beyond the arc, 8 on the timer. Allen up top with 5. Knocked aside. Long shot from the top of the key is a miss there from Rogers. It's out of bounds.
And there you see the first possession without Anissa Morrow, just the comfortability of being able to get her the ball and her making something happen. So we'll see how her teammates adjust to having her on the bench now with that 3rd foul, but that was not a great first possession with her on the bench.
Miller had 5 points in the first half, 5 points in this quarter. Handles here, top of the key, thought about a 3, watched by Rogers. Kicks into the corner, McDaniel. Doesn't get a roll this time from deep. Corner 3. Kiki Rimmer, defensive rebound for DePaul. Allen runs the court nicely, but can't finish on a really good pass from Darian Rogers. Here's Pinzan the other way for Maryland through traffic. Some contact, it's out of bounds. Fast and furious action, end-to-end here. Reynolds, court time here for Maryland. Another youngster for the Terps. Miller step back 3. Back iron miss. Jory Allen, the Indiana transfer, played 33 minutes against Miami. Had 9 points, 3 rebounds in that big win at Wintrust. The trailer here, it hits the three. Jory Allen, first three of the game. Only his second of the season. Rimmer, a steal, and a lay-in.
That's just frustrating for Maryland. Eliza Pinzon, one of the top point guards in the country, just got caught looking over at the sideline, and Rimmer took it right out of her hands.
Go through traffic. McDaniel hangs, can't hit, tough shot. Rogers defensive rebound here for DePaul.
You like that defensive possession because you force Diamond Miller to have to give up to the ball and trying to force some of these other players to have to beat you. And right now, the other Maryland Terrapins aren't scoring at a very high rate from outside the paint.
Peoples through traffic, tough lefty shot. Allen stick back with the right. Can't connect. McDaniel defensive rebound for Maryland. And so far, so good without Anissa Morrow into the game. After 3 fouls out most of this third quarter. Miller a track down, Skip Pinzon. On the near side, a three. Much needed for Maryland.
Nice find from Diamond Miller. DePaul is doing a good job of defending her, sending multiple bodies at her. She recognizes it. Skip pass over to Pinzon.
Led USF, the Bulls in the American Conference last year in assists, had 171. Rogers through traffic is fouled. And Darian Rogers, only 2 points today. He's back to the free throw line here for DePaul.
And here's Jory Allen, who's really given DePaul a nice burst, both offensively and defensively. She'd come to DePaul last season, but played just 2 games before missing the rest of the season with an injury. So she's really just settling into being a Blue Demon. And man, have they really relied on her this afternoon.
Renee Alexander, Gia Cook, Briggs have returned from Maryland. And here's the junior guard. Almost 22 points a game for Rogers. One more free throw for her. Big three, Pinzon, second triple of the game. With a three-pointer, Kim, the game's never over. No matter how you're playing, it's only an 8-point lead for DePaul.
Yeah, and it's been a little atypical how poorly overall Maryland has shot the ball so far in this game. They shoot it at about 40%. Myers a really good three-point shooter, so we'll see if they get those looks to start falling at a little bit better rate here in this final quarter and a half.
Sellers. Return pass outside the arc. Watched by Rogers. Left elbow. Here's Cook, the freshman, provided a burst for Brenda Freeze in the first half. Briggs can't connect. Cook will try again. The want-to and the offensive rebounding is there for Maryland. Just can't quite convert.
Yeah, just had the same thought. The effort is there on the drives, the rebounds, but having a really tough time finishing around the rim this afternoon.
Rimmer, the senior, valuable off to DePaul bench today for Doug Bruno. Holmes had 2 threes in the first quarter, quiet since. Can Rogers get going here? Without Morrow on the court. Rimmer thinking 3, this time it's blocked. Renee Alexander got a piece of that. Contact at midcourt. Peoples trying to avoid her third foul. Does so. Head-to-head with Briggs. Massones gets the set from the Maryland bench. Sellers kicks into the corner. A missed 3 there from Cook. Massones and 1. A great pass from Lavender Briggs, the Florida transfer. On the shovel pass, Dime leads to a chance for a 3-point play.
This season, she's had a tough shooting night, 1 of 8. But Dave, she has 7 assists in this game. Her vision in this game and throughout this early part of the season has been really impressive, averaging about 6 assists per game to lead the Blue Demons.
Massones was fouled before the break-in, completes a 3-point play. The team captain, team's 4th leading scorer.
And now you see some full court pressure from Maryland. Let's see if they can force some turnovers and get out and run for some easy layups a little bit to chip their way back into this game.
And Doug Bruno puts the nation's leading scorer, Anissa Morrow, back on the court with 3 fouls. Picked up her third. It was 37-31, so DePaul's done pretty well without her. Rogers baseline the runner. A miss again. And Rogers continues to struggle, 1 for 9 from the field.
Yeah, you could tell Rogers a little bit frustrated. Just a couple of her finishes, she hasn't truly gotten her legs into the shot, finishing short on the front rim on that one.
So about 4 minutes, 20 seconds of action without Morrow on the court. DePaul did just fine. Miller through traffic, a foul.
And not many players can split a defense and just slice their way through like Diamond Miller can at 6'3". Such an explosive first step. And you can tell she's a little bit fired up here, trying to will her team back in this one.
3 fouls, Kim, on Kendall Holmes now, DePaul, so foul trouble becomes a storyline. 1 more free throw for Miller. Morrow has 3, and Kendall Holmes 3 personals for the Blue Demons. 13-point career average for Miller. Senior, Somerset, New Jersey. What a talent for Maryland.
Yeah, Diamond Miller being talked about as probably a top 3 pick in the upcoming WNBA draft because of that size, the athleticism, her speed.
Rogers double team. Great defense. Timeout DePaul.
And a couple times now, DePaul getting caught in corners, allowing themselves to be trapped. Maryland doing a nice job of putting shins, but very much under her yearly scoring average of 31, which, as we mentioned earlier, leads the nation. So this is a really interesting last 13 minutes here. Can DePaul hang on? And can Maryland make a comeback? That is a good start there, forcing the disruption on the defensive end.
Miller elevates, makes the steal. Gia Cook, the freshman from Clinton, Maryland, handles off for Sellers. Sophomore, Aurora, Ohio. With 6 points against Baylor. Big win for Maryland on the road in Waco. Sellers for 3. Front iron miss. Morrow pop for the rebound.
And again, you like that if you're DePaul. You stop Diamond Miller, but here they come on the other end.
Pressure, steal, Cook. Second field goal of the game.
Gia Cook, the freshman, has added some valuable minutes into this game off of the bench, just making intensity plays like that one.
Rimmer through traffic, gets her own miss. Second stick back off the mark. Miller, rebound, run out. Myers, too strong on a 3, and a weak side offensive rebound for Rimmer.
And I think this is where DePaul needs to settle in a little bit after a couple turnovers. Just really make sure you're running your offense.
Rogers give and go, but a front iron miss.
Last couple attempts from DePaul have just been all over the place.
Good pass from Holmes. Cook other end. Can't connect. And Morrow has the rebound.
Morrow hasn't had a touch in the last couple times down the floor. Let's see if they get their star player involved here.
11.7 rebounds for Anissa Morrow. 31.5 points a game. Outstanding start for the All-American. Until today. Foul trouble has limited her. Handles here through traffic. Looking for a left-handed finish. She is fouled. Hits the deck pretty hard. And will shoot some free throws.
And that's why you give her the ball, because she's a playmaker. She makes something happen when the ball gets into her hands. But Maryland has turned up the heat defensively. Gia Cook going a little defense to offense there, cutting into this lead. Ball protection is going to be vital here for DePaul, as we mentioned there, without 2 guards who would have started for them. So you have some guards who are playing much extended roles here in this game.
Renee Alexander, partner, picked up her second. And Morrow to the free throw line, where she's 62% entering the game. The numbers early in the year, this is just game 5 for DePaul. But for a player who creates so much offense, those free throw stats have got to be better. Misses 2.
Yeah, and the team as a whole is only shooting 62% on the season.
Minutes go in the third. Sellers, some contact, is fouled.
And a nice take from Sellers. As I mentioned earlier, you see the similarities in body types and size between her and Diamond Miller. And Sellers really recognizing that, curling off of some screens, taking advantage of her length and getting into the paint, getting to the free throw line.
Maya Peoples, sophomore, Notre Dame transfer, picks up her third foul. And Sellers has one more free throw here. Her first game of her Maryland career came against Longwood last year. It was career best 17 points. That's the way to start your run as a Terp. 2 free throws. 1 point game.
Yeah, Sellers was the Big Ten Sixth Player of the Year last year. Big Ten all-freshman team making a bigger impact here in her sophomore year.
Pressure, rotation, Miller the steal. Another lay-in. Cook. And how about Maryland? 14th ranked. Terps take the lead here in a game they've until now been dominated. But the tables have turned. Myers the steal. Hangs. Can't hit. And the rebound much needed for Allen. Outlet pass. Morrow. She'll spin through traffic. Can't hit the N1. There's the nation's leading scorer. Anissa Morrow, chance for a three-point play.
Yeah, interesting sequence here as Maryland has really turned the page on defense to offense. Anissa Morrow gets the N1. Interesting because she could have held it out for one shot. So a positive note, you get a potential three-point play here. Negative note, Maryland gets the ball again for the final shot of this quarter.
14 for Anissa Morrow today. The Terps briefly had their first lead of the game. Rimmer getting set to check back in with 25 seconds to go in the third.
Interesting, Coach Freeze just took out Diamond Miller here for this final play, so we'll see who she gives the ball to. You got to think maybe Abby Myers or Cheyenne Sellers, who's been effective in this quarter.
Cook, the freshman, runs the show. Under 10 to go in the third quarter. Sellers. Lobs down low to Daniel Gathers, but can't hit. As the quarter comes to a close, good half-court set, but the Terps can't finish. 3 in the books.
Diamond Miller also with 3 fouls on that end.
Picked up her third at the very end of the third quarter. So here we go. From Suncoast Credit Union Arena. In Fort Myers, Dave Kim, our entire crew. Women's college basketball, number 14 Maryland. Head-to-head with DePaul for the Big East. Rogers really quiet so far, trying to make some noise here in the fourth. Passing for Morrow, misses, gathers, and one. So strong offensive glass. Anissa Morrow, the battle, and a chance for a three-point play.
And that's what makes her an All-American. Darian Rogers got herself into a tough spot, able to wrap around that pass to Morrow. Misses the first one, but relentless on the offensive glass, getting that second opportunity.
Cook picks up her first foul of the game. Morrow also set a single-season DePaul record last year for rebounds, had 457 boards, so double-double threat at all times for DePaul. Maybe the one weak link, free throw shooting. Can't complete the three-point play. Sellers in the corner.
Nice patience, keeping that dribble alive, weaving in and out a little bit, and then finding some separation on the step back.
Pressure continues for Maryland. Morrow helps break it, but good defense for Miller. Altered the shot. Miller is running. Cook thought about a three. Sellers the fake. Miller from the free throw line. Can't click, in and out. People's defensive rebound for DePaul. You want them to settle things down.
They're so helter-skelter right now. They just had a bad turnover. There's nothing wrong with taking a deep breath and just slowing down for half a second.
Morrow's not slowing down. Hit a three. Third three of the game. Anissa Morrow is heating up. Miller other end. Scoop through traffic with a left, a miss. Masonis has it for Myers. Sellers rattles out from 10. Somehow didn't go down. Masonis just took it away from Anissa Morrow. And one. Faith Masonis. The want to down low. I guess the knee's just fine. What a battle. And a chance for a three-point play.
Yeah, these women are really starting to go at it on the glass. Anissa Morrow had her two hands on it, but gets stripped by Mazonis. Missed much of last season with a torn ACL. Had the surgery just back in January, already back out here, leaving it all out on the floor.
Morrow picks up her fourth foul. 8:31 to go in the fourth, and she's heading out.
Yeah, that is a big blow for DePaul, and there's the step back from the talented sophomore, Cheyenne Sellers. But over 8 minutes to go in this game, the nation's leading scorer back to the bench as the ball comes right to me. One-handed catch.
Nice catch. Still got it, Kim.
And you could see the frustration from Morrow. And it was really unfortunate because she had the rebounds and then got stripped, and that's what led to that fourth foul.
He said 27 rebounds in a game last year against Seton Hall. Single game, Big East rebounding record. What a talent. But not much you can do for Doug Bruno on the bench. Long way to go here. One-score game. Deep three and a miss there from Cook. Weak side rebound. And a battle for Sellers. I'm with you, partner. The want-to in this game, this intensity is ratcheted up considerably in the second half.
Yeah, and I think Maryland wants to make sure that they're staying smart about their shot choices. I'm not sure if that deep three from Cook was the best look there when you have some really good outside shooters, so be smart about where your shots are coming from.
How about Cook's recovery defense? Knocked it aside from Darian Rogers. Now with Morrow out, Rogers perhaps will try to take over.
Cook has really made an impact on this end of the floor with her speed. We've seen her get into traps, force some deflections and steals. Really impressive minutes from the freshman.
See why she was a four-star recruit. The Sonas with a nice steal for Miller on the inbounds play. Rebound, the run out, Cook, hard foul. Jory Allen in transition, trying to stay up with the very speedy Gia Cook.
And this has been the Terrapins' best offense this afternoon. Defense to offense. A solid effort from Allen. A hard foul. But DePaul with Morrow on the bench has to be so careful with their ball protection. That was just a silly turnover, and then not all five players sprinted back. We'll see how many minutes Doug Bruno elects to keep his star on the bench here as they still maintain a tiny lead in this game.
New career high for Gia Cook. Give her 9 points. Had been 7 as we talked about against South Carolina. Maryland's lone loss this year. They're the defending champs. Knocked off 17th ranked Baylor in Waco in their last game by 5. Coming to life in the second half.
And here comes that pressure. How will DePaul take a deep breath and settle in here, make good reads, come meet the ball?
Holmes for Rimmer across the timeline. All tied up. Cook slipped on defense, 9 of the timer. Peoples with 5. Left to the paint, hangs, blocked. Miller a piece of it. 2 to shoot. Rogers way off. Myers the rebound. Here's Sellers. Passing Masonis, gathers and scores. Timeout DePaul. What a pass and what execution on the fast break for Maryland. Time for the Old Trapper play the game. What a fast break for Maryland.
Yeah, Abby Myers up to Cheyenne Sellers, over to Faith Mazonis. These are the types of plays starting on the defensive end that have changed the complexion of this game for Maryland.
Holmes for Rimmer across the timeline. Morrow's back in, partner with the 4 fouls. Rogers thinking 3. Finally, Darian Rogers, first triple of the game for the team's second leading scorer. Coming off a 36-point explosion against Miami. Not nearly as effective today offensively. Masonis for Myers. Nice give and go for 2.
Myers moves so well without the ball, not settling for how the defense is playing her. Just continues to move around to get that little give and go.
Reach and foul on the pressure. Holmes slow to get up.
And here's Rogers, who was just 0 of 6 from deep prior to this one. That had to feel good, and at a much-needed time for DePaul. And then last year's Ivy League Player of the Year, Abby Myers, getting it to go. Brenda Fries said her leadership, the amount of experience she brings, has really implemented her team in these first couple games.
21 points in the lone loss for Maryland against South Carolina. Did pick up her second foul a moment ago. 10 of the timer for Rogers. Remember with 5 to shoot. Trying to create the lefty. Weaves through traffic off the glass and in.
Not an easy finish. Getting to the other side of that lane and laying it up high over 3 Maryland defenders. And here she is with the steal.
Wow, doing it all, but Cook takes it right back. Miller, nice recovery. A 1-point DePaul lead here. We've gone back and forth in the second half. Miller, Cook, 3-ball. Too strong. Sellers a hand on the rebound. Morrow takes back the board. Here's Holmes.
You talk about choosing good shots. I thought Maryland missed Sellers wide open on a roll there the other end, and instead settled for another 3, which they haven't shot exceptionally well in this game.
Holmes through the paint and one. Kendall Holmes, tough move through contact with a finish. Bumped by Cook. And the junior from Plainfield, Illinois, a chance for a 3-point play.
Yeah, really impressive here for Kendall Holmes, who we mentioned there's a lot of pressure on her this season that she maybe wasn't expecting, having to start and slide into that starting point guard role due to some injuries to the Blue Demons. She only played about 10 minutes per game last season, missed most of her freshman year with a knee injury, but that was a really tough bucket in that moment. Knocks down the free throw as well.
Big 3-point play for Kendall Holmes. Lead at 4 here in the 4th. Pinzan back into the game. Quick return pass from Miller. Pinzan can't click from 3. And Rimmer a battle. She's done it all for DePaul today. Morrow on the court, the 4 fouls.
You want to think some time and score here. That time Rogers pulling it out. Not a great attempt there. You want to be smart here.
Allen with a bailout. Holmes in the corner for 3. Clicks! Kendall Holmes taking advantage of her playing time with injuries in the backcourt for DePaul. And Brenda Fries has seen enough. Timeout Maryland. Huge 3 for Holmes. She's got 3 threes in the game.
Yeah, a couple of big-time plays for her. At times, DePaul has looked...
Championship for Maryland under the direction of Brenda Fries. What a matchup of 2 great coaches here today in Fort Myers.
Yeah, I think the most shocking thing in my preparation was that this is the first meeting between these 2 coaches. Yeah. Just the second ever meeting between DePaul and Maryland, last played in 2001.
Big possession. Diamond Miller. The handles, the contact, offensive foul.
And that was a smart choice at first from Diamond Miller because she recognized having Morrow on her with the 4 fouls. So Morrow couldn't do much. She gives it up to her teammate. Player of the quarter here so far, Kendall Holmes, getting it done on the defensive end as well. Knowing personnel, knowing Miller loves to attack and getting that position.
4 fouls Miller, 4 fouls Morrow. Rogers with some contact. Wow. Morrow, let's see this a big call here. Who is it? Faith, Masonis, and Morrow came together.
This has been a physical matchup inside. Morrow and Masonis getting tied up. Masonis getting whistled with the foul. That's the bonus. So Morrow will go to the free throw line for 2.
2 of 6 for Nisa Morrow from the free throw line so far today. 19 points for the All-American. 27 double-doubles a year ago. But the free throw shooting. 9 rebounds today. 1 more board, another double-double for Doug Bruno. Recruited her mom to play at DePaul. That's how long Doug Bruno's been coached, 37 years. Mom went somewhere else, but second time around, second generation Morrow. That great athletic family goes to DePaul, and she's been a huge star. Sellers hangs and hits. Beautiful shot from Cheyenne Sellers for Maryland.
Yeah, she really just soars through the paint, gets that hang time, and gets it to bounce off the backboard, but she'll be whistled for the foul now. The sophomore last year, 6th player of the year in the Big Ten, recognizing that gap, getting to her spot. Fancy finish, but unfortunately whistled for the foul right after that, sending the Blue Demons right back to the free throw line.
Led the team a year ago in steals. You can see why with that intense pressure. Quickness, good hands. Jory Allen, one more free throw. 6 of 10 young season from the free throw line for her so far. Entering play today. A key part of DePaul's attack. In the post, hits the second. Top of the basket for 2 for Sellers. Double figures for her today. Holmes, pressure. Sellers all over, baseline. It's out of bounds.
And we haven't seen an adjustment from DePaul. Time and time again, they've dribbled into that trap. By now, you know it's coming. So you want to keep the ball in the middle of the floor, have some space to dribble back out. But that time the trap was so low that Kendall Holmes had nowhere to go with it.
Miller plays the 4 foul. Sellers top of the key. Goes down. Shooter's touch.
She's feeling it. Nice ball fake. 1 or 2 dribbles. Ooh, nearly drew a charge there. Really close. A two-way player.
Myers tipped that one. Intended for Rimmer. Rogers other end. Answers with a huge 3 for DePaul. Second 3 ball for Rogers. Fireworks here. Rimmer another steal. She's been great today. Both ends of the court.
And this is where you want to pull it out. 2-possession game. Time is on your side. Good decision from the Blue Demons.
30 combined turnovers in the game today. Rimmer a 3 ball. Too strong in the corner. It's out of bounds. DePaul keeps it.
Cheyenne Sellers has really kept her team in this game. Ball fake, 1 dribble, pull up, 1, 2, 3, 4. I lost count of how many bounces.
It's a lot.
End of the day, she gets it to go in. Other end, Rogers draining from deep.
Sellers the last 6 points for Maryland. Knocked out of bounds. 17 to shoot for Doug Bruno's team.
And let's see if they get Morrow a touch here. Like we said about Maryland, be smart about who's getting your looks here late in the game.
Doug Bruno told us pregame, 800 wins. So what? I'm going to keep going. I love it. Still a passion for coaching and teaching. He's done so well. 3 on the timer here. Rogers with 2 drives. Hangs, but can't hit. Rebound for Myers. It's a big miss. Sellers on the move. Miller thinking 3. Rattles out. What a battle. Foul called. Rogers tangled up with Sellers, and this is going to go on Darian Rogers.
This game has just been so physical inside. In the low post, Diamond Miller elects to go for the 3. Maybe in that situation, you'd like to see her attack, but Rogers couldn't believe that a foul was called on that little tangle up inside.
First foul on Darian Rogers today. Miller in a 2-possession game. Myers, long 3. Too strong. Allen, big defensive rebound at the top of the key for DePaul.
DePaul has really continued to do a nice job on Diamond Miller, cutting off her drives and forcing other players to have to beat them.
High post touch, Jory Allen. Under 2 to go in the 4th. Allen with the left, blocked by Miller. Great defense, Maryland. Masonis lose change. Myers on the move for Miller. Tough pass to catch in traffic, and it's tied up. Terps keep it.
Nice block from Diamond Miller. getting it up ahead here.
Masonis inbound play. 2 points for Faith. Double figure scoring for her. Lead at 4.
The last couple of possessions, Morrow's been out on the perimeter. Now she's down low on the block. That's her bread and butter. Was wondering, when is she going to get back down on the block? There you have it, automatic 2 points.
22 game, the feed from Rogers. Traveling call goes against Gia Cook.
This was Faith Masonis getting around Anissa Morrow. Big finish, but DePaul answered on the other end. 2 possession game here, closing in on a minute to go. Maryland going with their pressure here, which has been really effective in the second half.
Morrow drives in, too strong with the righty runner. Rebound for Miller. Under a minute to go in the 4th. Myers, the one more. Into the corner, deep 3, rattles out somehow for Sellers. Masonis trying to keep it alive. Holmes has it for Rimmer, and there's an aggressive foul on Cheyenne Sellers.
And that was tough for Maryland because 2 players made a really good extra pass, but couldn't get the 3.
Passion to be great, to learn the game at the highest level, and man, has she been spectacular into her 2nd year. What a talent. Rimmer, big free throw.
You saw those free throw graphics. DePaul had been struggling a little bit on the season throughout this game. Some big ones here for Rimmer.
1 of 2, 45 ticks, 4th quarter. Miller drives, but can't hit. It's out of bounds.
Really have been impressed with DePaul's awareness of Diamond Miller. When she gets to the rim, she hasn't gotten fouled very often. They're sending help, they're sending length, and it's been a tough day for Diamond Miller, who had 32 in her recent outing.
Foul for Miller. And she is fouled out. 11 points and 5 rebounds for Diamond Miller today, the team's leading scorer.
Yeah, Diamond Miller, DePaul made things really hard from her. She finishes with 11 points, but just 3 of 12 from the floor.
Miller did have 5 blocks today. First of 3 games for each of these teams in the Fort Myers event. And Rogers 1 more free throw. Two free throws for Rogers. Lead at 9, and things looking very good for DePaul to win its 3rd game of the year.
To be smart as she's dealt with foul trouble much of the second half, but she's been able to stay on the floor, and DePaul's offense just looks so much better when she's out there, even if it's not necessarily her taking the shot, but they're so much more comfortable with her out there on the floor.
Holmes, nice overplay, comes to Myers, launches from 3 and hits. Second 3 of the game for the Princeton transfer, and a foul right away for Sellers with 27 seconds to go in the 4th quarter.
Yeah, still a 2-possession game here. You know that DePaul has struggled at times from the free throw line on the season.
Cheyenne Sellers picks up her 4th foul, and it sends Kendall Holmes to the free throw line. She's had a great game. Kiki Rimmer, a double-double for DePaul today. 13 points, 12 rebounds. Some unexpected heroes for the Blue Demons.
And Maryland still has 1 more timeout, so they'll likely call it here to advance again. Rule in the women's game last minute.
All 5 DePaul starters, or at least on the court now in double figures. A lot of balance offensively in the early season.
We'll see if Maryland can get something quickly here. At this point, you're talking a catch and shoot, maybe give it right back to Myers, but they've got to get something quickly here.
Myers in the corner of the set, but it's off the top of the backboard, not out of bounds, and Holmes has another rebound, adding to her stats today. Got 3 boards too, why not?
This
30.
is
Go ahead,
just going to say, this has certainly been surprising. This is a DePaul team who, prior to their win against Miami leading up to this one, had lost at home to Northern Illinois and Cleveland State. So to get back on track with the Miami win, now on a neutral site, very close to closing out a top 15 team.
Maryland today for Doug Bruno's team, then Pitt tomorrow, Towson on Sunday. Each team here, 3 games, 3 days on the women's side after the men's event wrapped up.
And this
great college basketball.
This continues a really strong start for the Big East Conference as a whole. Well, I'm not sure of the exact number now, but they have a ton of top 25 wins. Marquette with a nice showing at the Battle for Atlantis earlier this week. Creighton with some top 25 teams. Of course, UConn, number 3, still undefeated.
Stellar steps back. Final moments. Back iron miss. Morrow does have a double-double.
She doesn't slow down.
Rebound. Never. So Morrow and Rogers combined for 34. Averaging more than 53 combined coming in. But it didn't matter. DePaul wins. For Kim Adams and the entire crew, it's Dave Ryan saying so long from Fort Myers. And thanks for joining us. A win for DePaul over Maryland, 76.